Okay, welcome. We're so happy to have you here at our social media summit. This is Monday, April 13th, 2020. We're in the middle of this pandemic of sorts, and I'm hoping that when this recording is played back down the line, that we're able to look at this from a much brighter place. So please know that we, on behalf of all of us, in our wellness family, we are thinking of you and thanking those of you that have been selflessly working the front lines in the hospitals and out on the streets and doing everything that you need to do to keep everybody healthy and happy and safe. And you've seen our beautiful community really shine during this rough time. We've also seen our company really shine during this rough time. So that's been really, I think that's been really nice for many of us to see. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jamie McKenzie. I'm one of the Diamond Leaders with our Essentially Powerful team. We are so excited to be kicking off our social media summit. Those of you that know me know that I love my lip gloss, and I'm looking at myself and just realized I forgot to put it on. So that's going on before we do anything else. I can't look at dry lips. And everything looks so much better with lip gloss, right? Okay, so this is how this evening is going to work. We're going to be going till about 9:15. This is about an hour and 15 minutes. The first hour is all going to be content brought to you from some of our top leaders. And then the last 15 minutes or so will be Q&A. We'd love for you to be thinking about what questions that you have. And oh, thanks. Thanks, Matt. Matt said I needed my lip gloss. Yeah. We would first love for you, if you're new to Zoom, we'd love for you to see if you know how to use the chat. So you can see that Antonio's already using the chat. Hi, Antonio. Hi, Kira. Hey, everyone. So if you want to just let us know where you're watching from tonight. And what is one thing that you would really like to have answered this evening as we break down social media for you? We are going to be covering as much as we can in an hour. We're jam-packing the hour. If there is something that we didn't get to or we want to take a deeper dive, we promise you we will come back and do a Summit 201, all right? So let's kick off. Please make sure you have a pen and paper. You are going to want to take notes on this, okay? Get yourself your cup of tea or your ninja or your beverage of the evening, and let's kick off. So first and foremost, we want to empower you to be using social media as a tool. Social media is not the end all be all, but it helps you do something that is crucial to have success in your business, and that is build relationships. So I want you to look at social media as just another way to meet people, another way to deepen relationships, another way to invite, another way to present information, okay? It is not the end all be all. And those people that have built huge, massive organizations within Young Living will even tell you that. I've actually seen some of the top leaders of other companies speak up on stage, like at the Most Powerful Women in Network Marketing conference, and I remember watching that social media panel, and even those top leaders will tell you that it is one tool to get you from point A to point B. It isn't the end all be all. So remember that the relationships matter. Remember that the intention matters. Remember that this is not just a magic button that's going to, soar you to diamond, right? There's some other things that happen in between. So the first thing I want you to think about tonight is, and this is a question you may or may not have thought about before, is your target market. Because if we're not targeting who we're marketing to, we're just marketing to everybody. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions tonight that is going to just help you hone in on who it is you're speaking to, right? Whether you're using YouTube, whether you're using Instagram, whether you're using Facebook. We're going to mainly talk about Instagram and Facebook tonight. Because this would be, 10 hours long if we went into all of the other platforms. But if we aren't focused on who it is we're talking to, we're just arbitrarily talking to everybody. And think about when an author writes a book, right? They know their audience. They know that are they writing the book towards, parents? Are they writing the book towards middle schoolers? Are they writing this book towards a group of mechanical engineers? Who is the audience? So I want you to, first thing, I would like you on your piece of paper in front of you to write down 5 qualities or traits, and this is not like written in stone. This can be changed. This might, for many of you, be the first time you're even taking the time to think about this. I want you to think of 5 traits of your audience. Who is it that you want to be directing your messaging on social media to? Okay, think about some of these things. You can jot these down. Age, perhaps gender, married, not married, parent, not parent. Maybe you can think of some other like demographics and you can pop them in the chat if I'm missing a few. Employ, like, do they have a certain type of employment? Are they a certain type of worker of some kind? And I want you to remember that when you're marketing, because that's what social media is, especially if you're building your business through social media, it's meeting people, it's building relationships, and it's attraction marketing. You're going to hear that a lot tonight. I want you to be remembering that you're marketing towards a certain core group, but there will always be outliers. There will always be outliers. So as a 41-year-old mom of 3, okay, a homeschooling mom of 3, I'm always thinking about who is going to hear my message the best. And it's always going through this filter. Does this work for my target market? Every once in a while, there's somebody outside of that target market that's going to comment or like or ask a question. But for the most part, we're honing in on that target market. Okay, yeah, could be families, Antonio. Thank you for chiming in there. All right, so once you have your target market figured out, and you can also do a little Google search on this, because again, you could spend a whole hour on defining your own target market, but the first thing you really want to do is get intentional about who that group is. You can search how to define a target market, all right? And you're going to find some really good reading on that. But the next thing you need to do is create your brand you. And tonight we are hearing from one of our gold leaders, and I'm going to give her a proper introduction. So just bear with me a second while I pull this open. So we have Lonnie Catalano here tonight, and she is a wife and a mom of 2 young boys. She's a gold leader with our team, and her vision is to help other busy moms who want to tap into their life's purpose. She's all about finding balance between having fun and adulting. So that totally sounds like my kind of girl. I would absolutely be in your target market there. So Lonnie's going to talk to us about crafting brand you and why that is really important. So I can unmute you and I'll highlight your video and then you are ready to go.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining and thank you for that introduction, Jamie. So tonight, I'm hoping to relate with some of you, especially if you are new to wanting to share on social media. I wanted to talk about branding yourself and how to be real and show your true self. So like I said, especially if you are just starting out and you don't think you are good enough, or you might not have enough followers, or maybe you don't feel like you are interesting enough. I just want to share that when I first started sharing Young Living, I did not have any social media whatsoever. And so when I started kind of admiring, right, just like getting an Instagram page and starting to look at these models who were high up, I guess you would say they were like the people I admired in Young Living. They had these huge followings, and I almost felt inadequate to share because they had already mastered it, and I felt that I needed to maybe become all the things that they already were. And so that I was trying to change myself and kind of like just like, change myself in order to be successful in this business that I love so much. And just this business based on wellness, I felt that I had to be 100% what they were. So what I've come to realize, fast forwarding, and I don't have a huge social media following, but I do get most of my engagement and my business and my questions through my social media. With what I have now is that too many people overvalue what they are not, and they undervalue what they are and what they have to offer. So just by being who you are, you will attract the type of people who you are meant to lead and you are meant to share. So just being authentic. and creating your brand, like the content and the qualities about yourself that you want to be known for. So what I wanted everyone to do on your piece of paper is I want you to think about what your brand is and what you want to be portrayed as, and maybe write down 10 things that you want to be known for. If you can't think of 10, I had a hard time myself thinking about 10. Maybe just think about 3, 4, 5. Like for an example, like if you look at my social media, you know I like making fun of my husband, and I love going on vacations, and I enjoy crystals and positive mindset stuff. I'm very unorganized in my thoughts, in my business. I am just, so things that you want people to know about you. Maybe you love cooking. Just write them down so you could like start creating your brand that you want people to know you for. And I think we had said, Jamie, right? We were going to just give them a few minutes to write down some examples. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm working behind the scenes to pull up that graphic if you want. Yeah, so I'm just working here, all the back end stuff. Yeah, so take a few minutes to write those down. Those are really important, and I have a graphic that I'm attempting to share for you. Can you see that okay?
It looks perfect on my end.
Okay, great.
Does anyone have any examples that they would like to share with us about themselves or how they would like to be portrayed?
I'll go ahead and share.
Let's actually use that. Let's just do the chat only.
That's perfect.
Yeah, let's just do the chat because we really want to keep this be done at 9. So we just want to move along and be mindful of everybody's timing, or it's going to get way too late for people. So yeah, we can see Antonio starting to put his outdoorsy type, handy. So these are some things that we would identify about Antonio, and his post will start to show these things. All right, so yeah, let's get ours going, and I can show that other graphic too, Lonnie. So just let me know when you're ready for it.
Yeah, sure, you could throw that up. I just want to add too that so as you are creating your brand and people are now starting to follow you, maybe they're getting educated by your posts, you want to be sure you are consistent with your brand as well. Like for example, you are not going to see me in Target, like, you know, grabbing all the stuff, like grabbing all the Febreze and the Glade, but again, I am not this perfect wellness being. So you will see me with a glass of wine. You will see me with the dirty martini every once in a while. And perhaps like throwing some chicken nuggets in the backseat of my car for my kids, you know, to eat on the go. So again, creating this perfect image is not what you need to hold yourself to. I do feel like you can get a lot of inspiration from following certain people, some great people I follow on here and I get inspired by every day, and especially in their stories. I get a lot of education from them, but What I suggest is that you absorb what is useful and you reject what is useless or not relatable to yourself, and then make it specifically your own so that people know how to trust you and they get to know you, and they can once they know you and they like you, they will trust you. So did we put up that other image? I'm not sure if I saw it.
I don't know if you just want to touch on this one before I change it.
Oh, okay. So your image is, you know, all the things that you wrote down, you would want to maybe use as a platform to create different things in your stories, different things on your actual feed, your mission for what you want your people to know you as, because believe it or not, if you're not creating your own brand, people are going to create the brand for you. Your values, your family, your health, your wellness, things that you love, and your vision maybe for your business and why you're sharing it. It could really be whatever you want people to see you as. So are people still sharing in the comments?
And can you see this one?
It's very blurry on my end.
Let me just read it quickly for you guys. So how to define your personal brand. So the questions to ask, and we can post these in the groups. What type of content will you be posting? Is it written? Is it visual? What are your values and how do you want to come across? Who is your current audience and what kind of audience would you like to attract? These are all things, those people that are just like posting randomly aren't being mindful about and being a gatekeeper of their social media platforms. What do you want to achieve with your brand? What are you most knowledgeable and passionate about, and what tone of voice would you like to use, right? Think about that. When we know certain people are posting, it's coming across as kind or loving, or some people are super aggressive or abrasive. So that's something to think about. What tone would you like to come off using? How would you like to best communicate your message? And who are you? And what is your position in your industry? All right, so that just gives you some things, and we will post this graphic in the group so you have it. We'll put this up in EP business, so make sure you're in there. Anything else, Lonnie, before I transition?
That's all I had.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. So we're flowing you through this, guys. So we're doing thinking about who your market is, right? Who is, and I'm sorry for all the bells and whistles here. Who is your market? Who are you? All right. And now we're actually going to move into the content. What is it you're actually going to post? And I'm going to take this little part over. We're going to talk about the 4 E's of social media. Okay. 4 E's of content. I don't know if there's a way for me to turn up all those bells and whistles. I'm so sorry, but somebody is messaging me. So, oops, sorry. So the 4 E's of content. If you're a note taker, you're definitely going to want to take notes on this. All right, number 1, the first E is you want to make sure that your content, what it is you're deciding to create, put out on social media, is engaging. So the goal of social media is to connect with people. So engagement means on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, you've got a like a double tap, somebody gave you a heart, right? On Instagram or on Facebook, it's a like or a heart or a shocked face. So it's either a like, a comment, or a share. So everybody starts with crickets. So I don't want anyone to feel like I'm putting things up on social media and I'm getting crickets, because we've all been there. However, I will share with you, if all you're getting is crickets, day after day, week after week, month after month, it's time to reset and go back and ask yourself and say, who is my target market? Am I talking to the right person? Who am I? What am I trying to portray? And what is my message? Because chances are, if it's crickets all the time, well, you might, first of all, have your privacy settings so that you're the only person that can see your posts from a logistical standpoint. But more likely, there's a disconnect between who your target market is and who your brand is, okay? So you want to put up posts that think ahead of time. When I post this, how can I give it a little tweak so that people will actually respond? So maybe it's not just, this is what I made for dinner. It's a picture of, this is what I just pulled together from the fridge, put this together for dinner. What did you make tonight? I would love to see a picture of it in the comments. Because social media is all about the algorithms. And if a post goes up and nobody comments, likes, or shares, it automatically is flagged by the social media god and goddesses that it's just not important. And so they're not going to show it to anybody else. So if somebody hasn't really, and I don't know the exact timing, but if somebody has not, I want to make sure everyone's muted here because I'm hearing a lot of background nose blowing or something. Okay. If somebody has not commented or any interaction has happened, it's going to go away. Even though you can still see it, it's not going to pop up in anybody's feeds. So you want, the name of the game is when you put up your post, you want people commenting or liking or sharing as soon as possible, as frequently as possible. So this is where if you have some cross-line friends, form a little group, a little accountability group where when you put something up, you can message your little group and say, hey, I just put up a post. Can you guys do me a favor and go over there and comment? The other thing to remember, guys, is to support one another. So when you're scrolling through and you see another team member's post, don't just like it and pass on by. Say something. And preferably not just, oh, that's awesome, but something like, oh, I've tried this before too. I found this. And even better, guys, when you're responding underneath your own posts, respond with questions, because when you respond with questions, it gets somebody to comment again and comment again and comment again. So you're basically, your posts are getting points. Is this a share-worthy post, or is this a post that just needs to go into the back black dark room? And so the sooner you can get conversation going under your post, the more people will see it. So it needs to be engaging. All right. That's a big one. Number two, that's the first E, is engage. Number two is educational. And so remember how Lonnie was talking about, find something that you're passionate about, something that you know about. You can teach your Facebook community or your Instagram community. It could be a tip. It could be posting recipes. It could be a link. It could be a quick little how-to video. We do know statistically that videos get more views. People are much more likely to act after they've seen a video and they've seen facial expressions and hand expressions. It's much more connected. So go on. Matt and I did one the other day on our favorite garlic tips. Garlic is on brand for us because we are all about immune support. We're all about health. We're all about cooking in our house. And so some of our garlic tips are kind of funny: how to crush the garlic, how to peel the garlic. And before Whole Foods shut down their whole garlic bar, we used to like take just the pickled garlic out of the olives, and we give a couple of those to the kids a day. So that was all in our video. Content around our brand. I know that I have a group of people that want to know about health. That's my target market. And so that's what we did. So you can do something that's educational. Maybe it's little known facts. Maybe it's something that is going to help people through a current situation. Okay. You could do little hashtags if you want to. Happy life tip, quarantine tip. All those hashtags can really help. And we're going to be hearing more about how to use hashtags and how to connect with people from some of the other ladies. Number three is empower. That's the third E. Posts that empower. So empower would look like, let's just say you're following some people here from our team and you see somebody that ranks up or gets a promotion. Just because they're not in your downline doesn't mean that you can't take the time to give them a huge shout out and post about them on your page. You will do better as a leader. Your business will grow the more you are able to be inspired by other people's success rather than be intimidated or jealous. And so if you are feeling jealous when you see something good happening in someone else's life, you might want to get the mirror out and work with your mentor and start to work through some of those emotions, because those triggers are there for a reason, to help us grow. But think about ways you can celebrate people. Maybe you saw someone in another profession doing something so amazing. Our healthcare workers right now are doing incredible things. Our police, our fire, all of the frontline first responders right now are just doing amazing things. Maybe you have a mom friend whose husband had to go away and now she's home with all these children by herself and she's just struggling and you know it, and maybe she just needs a shout out on social media as one of the most inspiring people you know at the moment, right? So think about ways you can lift other people up. And I'm going to tell you guys, people are scrolling through social media. They want to feel connected. They want things that make them feel good. If you're just posting about the weather all the time or you're constantly posting about complaints, people are going to unfollow you quicker than you probably realize. All right. And the fourth E is entertain. So people love to laugh. We know that the meme game right now is like really on point. Okay. The memes, I think, are what's getting so many of us through all of this nonsense that is happening right now. So, funny memes, funny one-liners. Anytime you're going to hear somebody say, these are two words that you want to look for in your social media posting. When you hear someone say, "me too," you know you are doing a darn good job connecting to your audience and staying on brand, because you want people to be able to say, "Wow, I do that too." So you know how Lonnie was like, "I'm an organic mom, I use natural things. You're not going to see me buying Lysol and Febreze, but you might see me feeding my kids chicken nuggets from the back seat," right? That's real. That's real. I was telling the girls, one of my most well engaged posts was several years ago, after I had spent many, many years building up a brand of being organic and natural. And I posted a picture of my kids drinking an iced hot chocolate from Dunkin' Donuts. And that post got it blew up. It just blew up. It got more engagement because people were like, "It is so refreshing to see, like, every once in a while you're giving them something non-organic." I'm like, "Of course." I'm like, "I'm a human being with like hungry children, and sometimes we need to go to Dunkin' Donuts, you know?" So be real and be relatable, because it's all about this business. All boils down to, do people do they know you? Do they truly know you? Do they like you? And do they trust you? And so you can use social media and these 4 E's as a means to make that happen naturally. So you have these 4 E's: engage, educate, empower, entertain. So when you are creating your content, you get to decide how you cycle through those. I don't think you want every single post to be an educational post, or people are going to get a little bored. Maybe one day you do engaging, the next day you do educational, the next day you do entertaining. Personally, I've been one that's kind of just flying by the seat of my pants, and I post what feels right in that day. Other people, they create their content ahead of time, and we'll be hearing about that tonight. It takes time to learn the pulse of your audience. So you're going to see what gets the likes, the comments, the shares. And when you see that, you do more of that. Okay. When you are just starting out though, and you get the crickets, I don't want you to get discouraged, because we were all there. Every single one of us that you see having hundreds of shares or dozens of likes, we were all there where nobody said a word. And that's where we as a team can really, really come in to help one another, because there's such a strength in numbers. Okay. Just make sure when you're commenting on someone's post that it isn't, doesn't sound really canned, because that can be a little bit of a turnoff for the people reading the comments. Okay. So we're going to be moving. Any questions about that, actually? Let's see, because a comment, buddy. That's a great idea. All right. We're going to be moving to our next speaker, and we are so excited to be hearing from Laura, and she's going to be sharing about expanding your network on both Instagram and Facebook. That's a really, really big part of success, is meeting new people. And I just want to read to you Laura's little introduction here. So Laura DiDomizio is a recovering teacher and the ringmaster of a tiny circus that she co-created with her husband, Mark, and they live in Waterbury, Connecticut. And when she's not taking care of her fam, she can be found sharing the Young Living lifestyle, completing her coursework at the Integrative Institute of Nutrition, or binge watching Vanderpump Rules and Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Laura and I have some of our best late night texts all about the Kardashians. She's pretty sure that her love of all things social media stems from the fact that Facebook was invented during her sophomore year of college. So Laura, take it away. We're really excited to hear from you tonight.
Thank you. Hi guys, how are you all? Okay, so I'm talking to you about expanding your network. And so expanding your network for me is two things. It's adding to your network, but it's also building your relationships, because you can just add a bunch of people as friends on Facebook or follow a bunch of people on Instagram. But if you're not having conversations with them, then you're probably not really going to ever be able to help them start using Young Living. So there's kind of three ways that I think that we do this on both platforms. And that's by using likes, comments, and direct messages or private messages. On one platform it's called DMs, on the other one it's a private message, so whatever. So this is kind of where we're going to branch off though, because I think that there's two different ways of doing this. It's different on Facebook than it is on Instagram. So on Facebook, how many of you guys are in groups other than our oily education groups? Okay. So groups are a really great way to expand your network, especially right now, because we can't go outside, like we can't go to a group, right? Like I don't get to hang out with the moms at my daughter's little preschool prep class because there's no class. So groups on Facebook are a really great place to start. It's a really great place to meet like-minded people because there's literally groups for everything. So like, for example, Jamie just turned me on to a group recently. It's called Socially Distant Foodies. And we literally all just post pictures of the food we're eating. It doesn't have to be fancy. And it's just it's like so nice, you know? And then of course, like I'm in mom groups, which sometimes can feel exhausting if you have like certain types of judgy moms that, you know, if you're looking for groups, like if you love baking and you don't really find a baking group that you love, you could create your own group. The only thing I would say about creating your own group is remember that it does take work. Like if you're going to create a group, you have to be present in the group. You have to be providing content to the group. So think about how many hours do you have in your day? Where do you want your time to be spent? If you don't want to be spending content, then joining an already made group is a great option. One thing to keep in mind when you're in a group is to give more to the group than you take. So what does that mean? That means when people are coming into that group and putting up posts and asking for advice, you're right there offering what they're asking for. Even like there'll be people that post stuff looking for advice about something I have no idea about, and I'll just comment with like just something to like edify them, like, oh my gosh, yeah, that does sound so tough, I'm just like here thinking of you, like, you know, like something along those lines. Also on Facebook, something you could do too when you add new friends is, now for me, when I add new friends on Facebook, there's always a moment of like, oh, they're going to see all my posts, because sometimes, like going back to Lonnie's talk about branding you, sometimes your brand is going to turn people off. And the things that you post, not everyone will agree with. And that's okay because you're being you. So sometimes, you know, it's like the pulling back the curtain when you friend someone, right? But so when you are friending people on Facebook, my suggestion, especially if you have like a really good feeling about somebody from the beginning, like we all have those people, right? We just kind of like mesh with them right away. You know, in your brain, like, I want this person on my team. I want this person to be my best friend. You can go to their profile, and if you click like the three little dots, I think they're like, they're not up in the corner. They're kind of down the profile a little bit. You click on the three dots and it will pop up a couple of options. You're going to click see first. And so what that will do is when you open up your Facebook, that person's post will show up first. So that way you're not missing anything. You're seeing their posts, you can comment on them, you can like them, okay? Also, I would say, guys, if you have people on your social media that are downers and like killing your vibe and your energy, use those same three dots and unfollow them. This whole situation with the virus has shown me a lot of people to unfollow. Not unfriend, just unfollow. Okay? So now going on to Instagram. What's different about Instagram, there's no groups, right? So how are you going to like build your relationship with people there? Well, hashtags are really great to use on Instagram. I personally don't use hashtags too often on Facebook because it messes with the algorithm. Facebook doesn't love hashtags the way that other platforms do. Instagram really likes hashtags. So what you can do, kind of similar to the group, you can follow hashtags. Just like you can follow people on Instagram, you can follow a hashtag. So like for a long time, I was following millennial moms, but then it wasn't really like popping up like posts that I loved. It was just like a lot of posed photos with a lot of filters and like not a lot of substance. So I unfollowed it. But you can, if you love Chihuahuas, you can follow Chihuahuas of Instagram and you can find all the owners of Chihuahuas. You can chat them up, you know? So this is then you would take it into your DMs. Another really good thing on Instagram, I did not come up with this myself. I think I learned it from Madison Vining, is called 3 likes and a comment. So when you find someone whose profile you really like, if you like 3 different posts and comment on at least one of those posts, that person is more likely to go and look at your profile and hopefully follow you back. Again, just like on Facebook, you can turn on notifications. So it's a little bit different. It's if you're already following someone, you click follow again, and then a menu shows up and you go to notifications, and then you can change it in there. The thing I wanted to say about following people on Instagram, like I love Kourtney Kardashian, right? I'm not going to spend all my time liking and commenting on her posts because she has millions of other followers. Like, I highly doubt that she's going to pick me to like follow and join my oil team. Like, it's possible, but I don't know. So instead, don't necessarily go for the people with huge followings thinking that you're going to like ride their coattails and get their followings. Find the people that are kind of like you and then build each other up together. I have an Instagram friend who I've literally never met in person. She's so cool. We talk about so much. And honestly, we just met over Instagram. I don't even know how. It's just when you can just find people that are similar and talk about different things. And then a couple last little notes about the hashtag, right? So if you want to know what hashtags to use on your post, because also hashtags are going to attract people to your posts. It's going to attract like-minded people. First of all, you can Google top hashtags. Just Google top hashtags, and you'll see which hashtags are really popular right now. And that will automatically possibly bring more traffic. You'll also have more people to compete with because if a hashtag has been used a billion times, then there's literally a billion other posts, right? But you could see like, okay, if you want to attract like-minded people, then maybe you're going to put hashtag, like I do, hashtag mom of many, hashtag millennial mom, hashtag, I don't know, just motherhood rising, you know, save them in a note on your phone. So all you have to do is copy and paste your hashtags whenever you post on Instagram. And then the last thing is you can also make your own hashtag. Like I have a hashtag because my personal oil group is called Abundance and Joy. So our hashtag is abundantly joyful, so that anytime somebody, if they wanted to click on that hashtag, it would bring them back to all my posts. And then also hashtag your name, because someone might click on that hashtag and then it will come back to you. So those are just some few ideas. I hope that's helpful. Does anyone have questions? Oh, Lonnie said, be truly interested in the person, not just fishing for followers. Yeah, for sure. And so that's the thing. Like, you don't have to be interested. You don't have to be friends with everybody. Like, if you start following someone and then you don't love what they're putting out, you don't have to keep following them. Sarah asked, if you're posting in Instagram and letting it automatically post content in Facebook for you, would you edit to remove the hashtags in Facebook? So Sarah, personally, I don't like to have my Instagram posts directly go to Facebook. I do have my Instagram stories go directly to Facebook, which someone else will talk about, but the posts I will post the same thing, but I will do 2 separate posts because the algorithm knows. And so it knows you're not putting up like new content or whatever. So it kind of messes with your views. And sometimes they even change the wording, or yeah, that's just something to think about. So I wouldn't edit it. I just would unlink that and then do 2 separate posts, one on Instagram and one on Facebook. I think, did I get everybody?
Laura, that was wonderful. And we can do some other Q&A at the end.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right. So, yeah, it's really interesting. You kind of learn these tips as you go. I think that we used to link Insta right into Facebook, and then the algorithm changed. And so that's something else, is to just, you know, kind of try to stay on top of that. It's not, it doesn't need to be carved into stone, but there are some practices that just yield better results. That's all. Okay. So next we're going to be hearing from Diana, and Diana's going to be sharing about stories and how to use them, tips and tricks on Facebook and Instagram. So Diana is a wife and proud dog mama from Central New Jersey. And she's a gold with Young Living and is obsessed with living a natural lifestyle and helping others do the same. Let me find you over here, Diana, and unmute you, and you are good to go.
Awesome. Let me put myself back in gallery mode so I don't stare at my face. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to talk about stories, and I personally love using stories. When I first figured out what stories are, and I'm going to talk about what they actually are, I had about 500, maybe 400, 500 followers. As soon as I started using my stories, I got beyond 1,000 followers on Instagram. And I really think this is something that is so underutilized. And I'm going to kind of go through on why it's important and how to use it. So I was going to share my screen and kind of really just demonstrate how to do that, but I feel like we're all such empowered women on here. I'm going to highly suggest going to YouTube. YouTube is going to be your best friend when it comes to Instagram stories. Go to YouTube, type in how to create an Instagram story, and they're going to walk you through it. You're going to be able to rewind, go to the beginning, go to the middle, go to the end. You could stop it, pause it, just way easier. And I don't want to take time away from all of that. So YouTube, how to create an Instagram story. So if you actually go into your Instagram, on the left-hand corner, there is a little camera. And what that camera does, and I feel like it's kind of what that camera does, it's actually going to take all of your posts. This is how I look at it. And it's going to just detail all of it. So this is the part of Instagram where people really get to start to know who you are. So when I think about your grid of pictures, I almost feel like someone takes a highlighter and takes all of your Instagram stories and takes a highlighter and starts highlighting all of the things that make up your Instagram stories, and that's what gets put onto your Instagram page. So we want to be really creative in our Instagram stories. The cool thing about them is that they only last 24 hours. So you don't have to be so exact. I like to be really fun with them. So I like to kind of take people along for a journey. So throughout my day, if I see something cool, or maybe I'm cooking something, or maybe I'm making a rollerball or filling my diffuser, whatever it may be, I am making sure that I am on there consistently showing people what a little sneak peek into my life. The more consistent and the more you show people, the more people are going to create a relationship with you. So I don't know about you guys, but I know I have a couple people on Instagram. When I wake up, I go and see what they did, like in between going to sleep and waking up. You just become kind of like, and I know it's silly to admit, and we may not all admit that, but I know everybody has one if you are using Instagram stories. I kind of just go in and check on my favorite people. What are they up to? What did they do today? And if I don't see them posting for a couple of days, and you guys may be able to relate, you're like, are they okay? Are they okay? So this is why being consistent is so important there. People really start to create a relationship. I know that Laura mentioned Madison Vining earlier. I feel like I know Madison Vining so personally that I can go over to her and say, hey, how's your son doing? And she would be looking at me like, who are you? But she really brought me into a world that I feel like I know her so well. So that's really the goal when using Instagram stories, is showing people what is like really behind that curtain. And you can be a little bit looser with it because it does go away in 24 hours. And I think really hitting on all of those 4 points that Jamie mentioned, the 4 E's, like bringing that into your stories as well. I love using filters, that like the fun element of it. I really love finding people that I follow, and maybe they created a recipe, and I may actually take my notes out and take a picture of that recipe or whatever it may be and write their Instagram name in my notes, so that when I go back to recreate that recipe, I'm actually going to tag them in there, and say, oh, thanks so and so for showing me this recipe. You may have not even met that person, but they're definitely going to go check out your story. They may even share your story, which they're going to open up their whole community, just by sharing your story. So there's so many things you can do with this tool and really show people your whole entire day. Personally, I love to make my stories public. I don't like to have private accounts, and that's, everyone can kind of have their own judgment on that. But people really do start to find you. And I've had people within this business who are from Illinois. I think I had one person from Illinois and one person from Texas find me on Instagram, and just from stories, and someone shared my story, whatever it may be, and they came along and started the Young Living journey with me. So I think it's about us being transparent, but also not showing anything. And I talk about etiquette here too, not anything that you wouldn't want to be public either. Like mine is public, and it's because I know everything I share. I'm fine with my whole story being public. So you also have to ask yourself that before posting or doing any Instagram lives or stories, that is it okay that it's public? If so, then it's okay to make your Facebook and Instagram public. Showing authentic, yeah, and like I said, showing your authentic self there is so important. Creating relationships, showing all sides of you. And I also like to keep a log, and I know Jamie wanted me to really touch on this, keeping a log on what I want to post sometimes throughout the day, because sometimes I get on Instagram for the day and I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. And yes, I'm showing myself having my coffee, but maybe I want to have some structure in there. Maybe I want to talk about the thieves line, or maybe I want to talk about how to keep my immunity high this time of year because of everything going on right now. I think if you create a log, so what I do is I just have a little note section on my phone, and I'll type in Monday through Friday. And on Tuesday, I may be talking about thieves. So I may be incorporating somehow, like me spraying my counter down with thieves. Maybe Tuesday, I want to shine a little bit of light on what I'm using as far as skincare. And it may be as simple as me just like opening up my jar and not even saying a single thing, and me putting it on my face. Wednesday can be maybe me, rolling some CBD on my legs that are sore, after getting off my bike. So they saw me on the bike, they're seeing me using my CBD. So it's all tying in together and creates this whole story of what like a whole 360 on your life. And Young Living is such a big part of all of our lives. So it's so cool to show yourself doing something non-Young Living, and then how Young Living is going to fit in. So when I talk about logging too, kind of to go back with what Laura was saying, I do log my posts as well. So a little tip that I love to do is I write out my posts in email. Sometimes I email them to myself. I may do like maybe a whole month in advance, and I star them. And then when I go to my starred, like in my Gmail, I could click starred, and I'm going to have all my posts all written out. And as I post them, I unstar them. So it just helps me if I'm on vacation or maybe I have no time that day and I want to post, I'll grab one of my stars in my log. So I don't have to sit there and create a post. And then I do create time to kind of take some pictures of the stuff that I that go along with those, with those posts. So that's just some tips and tricks that I do. And staying compliant in your stories is also really important. So Jamie, I'll toss it back to you. I know you wanted to answer some questions at the end.
Thank you. Yes, we can definitely do questions at the end. I also, for those of you that are brand new, just want to interject before we hear from Tina Veth, that learning social media, guys, is like learning a new language. So you just take it one step at a time, and to have some positive mindset around this. If you don't feel like you're a rock star, don't speak such negativity on yourself and your business. Add that word yet to the end of your sentences. So I'm not utilizing stories yet. I haven't quite mastered hashtags yet. I haven't figured out how to post great pictures yet. Because when we do that, we are using a growth mindset, which is so important. None of us were born popped out of the womb knowing how to figure out social media, and it's changing all the time too. Wouldn't you say, ladies? They're always, one time we get this down, then all of a sudden it's something different. Instagram came out with Instagram TV and like all this stuff. So anyway, it's yet is a huge piece of this. One step at a time. This might not, but it might be one of the perfect times for you in your life to lean into this a little bit more. And I agree with Diana. We are a team of empowered women and men. We saw some men pop up and say, what about me? What about me? In that you can YouTube anything. You can Google anything. How to create great social media content. Google it, right? How to create great stories. Google it. So it's all there for you. And our goal tonight was to just really give you some of the real tried and true stuff that's actually working for us. But it's changing. It's changing all the time. So as an entrepreneur, you got to be able to flow with that. All right. So next we're going to be talking about pictures and lighting and the importance of creating attractive content. Okay. So we're going to hear from Gold Leader Tina Veth. Tina is from Massachusetts, and she is the mom of 2 girls, Vintage and Violet. And get this, their dog named Valor. She works part-time as a cardiac nurse practitioner and a sleep specialist. She's a gold leader to a team of 1,000 members. She's a really good leader. And she's really passionate about Young Living products, inspiring people to live their best life and pursuing their dreams. She's such a dreamer, and she inspires me daily. Rocky Balboa and Nicholas Sparks are her heroes. So let's see if I can find Miss Tina Veth in this Hollywood square of, I don't even see you, Tina. Oh, there you are. I know, I had to like scroll. Look at her. She's so cute. Okay, let me highlight you. All right, take it away.
All right, thank you, Jamie. So photos is like my passion. I absolutely, before I had kids, I actually won a couple awards for, Jamie probably didn't even know this, won a couple of awards for photography. And back then, I had my big professional camera, had to upload pictures. It was just such a lot of work to like come up with a good photo. And since then, our cameras on our phones are perfect. They've come a long way. You don't need that professional camera anymore to take good pictures. You can just use your iPhone or your Android, whatever phone camera you have. The biggest thing is to, number one, make sure, like if you're going to be taking pictures, to clean your lens. A lot of times people will like have this great picture and then they see it's cloudy, there's like a smudge. So really just take the minute to just clean off your lens, especially oily fingers, yes. The other really important thing is when to take photos. So the best time is when the natural light is at its best. So natural light is just so important. If you take pictures too early in the day, your pictures are going to have like a harsh light. Photos will be more warm. If you take it too late in the day, your pictures will have a more cool look, more shadows will be present. So having the right light really is everything. If you have like a bright light coming into your house, and I'm going to show some examples in a minute of the like what the bright light can actually do. You know, sometimes you might want to dim it a little bit. You can use like a white curtain or a white sheet. You can kind of play around with it, but I'm going to show you actually the difference in a photo. Let's see if I can do this. A lot of people will ask me, how do you get your diffuser to show that it's diffusing? And it's really a light issue. So let me show you the difference between two photos. Okay, so here's one with, can you guys see that?
Not yet.
Okay, here's one regular. Okay, so I'm sure you guys, you know, you've seen a photo, it is diffusing, okay? And so here is one with the light coming in at the right angle, and you'll just see the difference. You guys see that, the difference?
Whoa.
Same picture. Just the light was hitting the smoke of the diffuser at the right time, so that's when you can see it. So you really need to be mindful of, you know, the lighting, okay? Another time to take good pictures is like on an overcast day. You can get out there and you won't be so affected by the light. You can kind of use your editing at that point. You won't have, like if you're taking pictures of people for some reason, you won't have that light hitting them right in the face. So, you know, take the extra time to set up your shot. And so like if you do know that it's going to be a sunny day, take advantage. You can take a bunch of pictures at same time with that natural light coming in and then just use them later. So really just, you know, set up your shot. So things you can do when you're setting up your shot, wipe down your diffuser. So take a minute if your diffuser is dusty or whatever. Check your background. And I'm going to show you an example in a second of your background and the difference of just taking a little extra time. The other thing is we want to encourage you guys to use your own photos. Like I used to have a builder that every time Young Living posted something, she would just take that photo and she would share it. And it never got any engagement. But when you take your own picture and you make it personal, people, you know, it's more eye-catching. People are more apt to look at it and react. You want to make sure you're at eye level and make sure that your shot is straight so that you don't have like angles off, especially like some people will notice that. I mean, I'm a little more free in my photos, but like that's something you kind of want to be mindful of. Get rid of any clutter in your background, hide cords, you know, just really try to pretty it up. I'm going to show you on the next slide a couple things. I just did like a quick shot today just to show you the difference. So here's a photo. I wanted to take a picture of 3 oils that I was diffusing today. So there's 3, right? Just like on my counter. Okay, so here's the difference. That's just like whatever, like not very exciting. Here's a better version of it. So then I was like, oh, let me try a background. So I did a background. So there's a little, right? That's a little bit better. It's like, oh, it's kind of cute. And then I brightened it up and just zoomed in a little bit more and made that. Same 3 oils. So you see, you know, the difference of your background. So that is just a piece. Can everyone see that tile in the back?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so like, you know, if you don't have a pretty tile, you can go to Home Depot and just buy a pretty tile. You can use a slat of marble. You can use a favorite quilt blanket or, you know, just something that you love. Like make it personal, you know, make it like for me, I just happen to have this tile because I'm dying to do my kitchen floor. So I have like samples. And so I use these a lot when I'm taking pictures. And yes, filters are great. Filters can be helpful. This shot is just the vivid filter on my phone. And then I just took the exposure all the way up and made it really bright. You can just use a piece of white cardstock in your background. You can play around with portrait mode. You can, you can use presets. So presets are something that people sell, and you can go and find ones that you like. There's some free ones out there too. The thing with it is you want to stick to, again, going back to your brand, you want to stick to an aesthetic that you're consistent so that your feed can be cohesive. So when someone comes on your feed, you can, they'll know it's you. Like, they'll like, oh yeah, that's got to be from, it just matches up with your brand. So whether it's colors you like, some people like pinks and warm colors. Some people like the cool, dramatic. Some people love the big, bright, photos. I'm gonna actually show you two people that I love that I follow, and you'll just see, like, one of them's very bohemian, but if you look at her Instagram feed, it's all consistent. So here's one person. So you can see in the photos, it's warm, it's woodsy, like you get this boho feel, and I love that style. I actually love this girl. She's so super sweet. She's a silver leader on another team, but I love following her feed. I just get drawn to it. And you're going to have the things that you're drawn to, but the thing is being consistent, being consistent with your images, showcasing them. Like, you can see that bottom, the very last picture is showing that diffuser going. So you can see that she had that light just hitting the diffuser at the right angle. So that's one that I love. And then here's another one who's another favorite of mine. And she's a little different. So she's got, more of like a floral, like shabby chic kind of vibe, Can you guys see that one? That's Casey Vegan. She's a Royal Crown Diamond. And I love her feed too. So I get attracted to that. But again, she's consistent. That's her image. That's her brand. And then, that's what you kind of want to go for, is having this nice cohesive brand. And you can go back in Instagram, you guys, and you can get rid of posts that you might have done. So if you had, a venting post or something that doesn't align with your brand anymore, or photos you don't like, go in and get rid of it. You don't need to leave it there for life, So take the time. The biggest thing is just figure out what your goal is of your photo. Take the time and set up the shot. Look at it from different angles. But again, you don't need anything fancy. You can just use your phone, have fun with it. And if you have that beautiful light coming in, just think about different things you want to showcase and take images of that day that you'll have for content that you can use later in the week or whatnot. So those are my tips for taking good photos. I hope that was helpful. And if you guys have any questions, I'll look in the chat.
Thank you so much, Tina. That was amazing. What a difference with that you can see. The other thing you guys need to know, just starting out, is that everything does not need to look perfect. It is nice when the aesthetic is, is cohesive, but you don't need to be aiming for perfection. Aim for relatability and trustability and knowability, and you can work on the color scheme and all that stuff as you go. But I'm sure Tina would agree here that, it's going to take some time to kind of develop that, that look, and don't get so hung up on everything looking perfect, because no one has a perfect life. It should look attractive, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Just want to show you something here, guys, like my little setup here. You can see that I have some bright on my face. So I like having a white light bulb. White light creates a really, really nice glow on your face. So when I'm doing videos, I'll often take my phone, and I find I have a great window with awesome lighting during the daytime. And I will actually prop my phone on the windowsill so that the sun is coming in from the back. Okay, so imagine the sun is here on my hand, like where my hand is. The sun is coming here and the phone is here. And so it's shining on my face, and it can take years off of your face just by having good lighting. So what I have is this, like, it's a pretty like hodgepodgey setup here right now, but this is just a floor lamp that I've actually taken and twisted so that the lamp shade is up towards my face. I want to show you what happens when I undo it. So look at the difference there. Do you see how dark? So that is literally me ruining my $14 lamp and just taking it and bending the metal so that this is propped up. Oops, no, I just kind of messed it up, sorry. But anyway, I'll fix this in a second. But do you guys see the difference there? Like how, sorry, like how crazy that is? Look at that. It's really wild, right?
Amy, can I show what I have?
Absolutely.
So I got this off Amazon, and it has a little clamp. And when I take a lot of my pictures, there's a little remote here. And as you can see with mine as well, I can even just, as I'm sitting here and clicking with the remote, and I do this with a lot of my pictures, I can change all the settings. You can see like some warm light, some bright light, and go through that. So that's another great, I think it was like $10 off of Amazon. So something to look into.
I have one of those too. This is just like a little like $10 little ring light that literally sticks right to the computer, or it can stick right to your phone. I barely use this one because it loses charge like all the time. But so I just want to share with you, like, you don't have to have anything fancy like that, but it's helpful. It's helpful. And then you can really work on lighting because again, it's not about everything looking perfect, but it's about, you want people to slow their scroll down. You want people to be able to say, ooh, that's eye-catching. That looks nice. I want to get to know this person a little bit better. So, all right, so we're already at 9:07, but we are going to hear from Susanna Mello. And Susanna, are you okay? Because I know you had lost power. We have some crazy winds. I want to make sure you're on. I thought I saw you earlier.
I am now.
So let me just.
I couldn't hear a lot.
Okay, hopefully we can hear you okay.
We're
And
good now.
do I have your introduction? Did I get that?
You do.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I did send it kind of late. It's okay.
Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay, so Susanna, I'm going to put this on Susanna here. Susanna is one of our rising leaders, and we're so excited to hear, guys, tonight from someone that's just kind of newer at this. This is not someone that's been doing this years and years and years, but somebody that's just jumped in. She's a wife and mother of 3 little ones. She has a passion for sharing how Young Living has helped her raise her children as naturally as possible. She truly loves to empower other mamas to do the same and to see how easy it can be to have simple tools at your fingertips. So she is going to just briefly talk about some of the things that we talked about tonight. You're going to hear kind of real and raw, a real person sharing how she implements some of these things.
Okay, I did miss a lot. I was so looking forward to like learning with everyone, but I'm gonna definitely watch the recording. So basically, I kind of relate mostly to what Diana was talking about because I just absolutely love stories. I didn't know what they were. I had no idea, and then just one day I was like playing around, and Laura actually has taught me a lot. She's been my little tech helper, and I just kind of like in the beginning I had no idea what I was doing, and I just would put something out there and be like, oh wait, I can do that, like the more I watched other people too, I would kind of question and be like, how do I do that? And anyway, over time I just kind of picked up a little bit, but I still, like, that's one thing I want to say, like, I still mess up. I still put out things sometimes that's definitely not perfect, or I look at other people and I'm like, oh my gosh, like their social media is so beautiful, how do I do that? But it's just sort of like, for me, it's like, just keep going, just do it. And also Laura says this a lot too, like for my business specifically, like if there's like a day that I feel like I just can't get to doing things, it's like, at least I know I'm using my products every day. So it's like, even if you just take a picture of, like everyone was saying, like a bright, beautiful picture of you, your diffuser going, like anything like that, like people are going to question and be like, oh, wow, like, that's beautiful, or whatever. You might find that people, or they might not say anything, and don't let that discourage you either. See, I could go all over the place with this. Because like I used to say all the time, like, oh my gosh, there's no responses, like nobody comments, nobody likes anything. And I just kept going. I just kept sharing and integrating my life, like my children and, what I'm cooking, or I'm actually like really open about controversial issues. That's just me. I don't encourage anyone to do that, but that's just me. So like I'll kind of like mix that in there too. Because I do feel like some people are like, yeah, me too, you know, so there's all these little, you know, things. And plus it's also, I'm trying to, you know, obviously like find that tribe. And if that's, you know, the way that I am, it's funny, you do create a lot of relationships when you share something that you're passionate about. And, you know, so anyway, that seems to work for me. But what was I saying about just sharing, like, you know, taking a picture of something, you know, that you're doing, you're integrating it into, you know, this, it's really not like you're doing anything extra because you're already doing it anyway, you know. So if you're setting up your diffuser, if you're putting oils on your kids or whatever, I know what I was saying. Sorry, my mind is a little scattered. When, oh my goodness, I just like lost it again. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long day. We had like no power for hours.
Dealing
when
with
I got on here. Sorry.
That's okay.
I know what I was gonna say. Okay, when you think nobody is watching, and then all of a sudden you get this message one day from someone who it may have been maybe, you know, 6 months, it may have been a year and a half, that they've been watching every single one of your stories, but they never say anything. And then all of a sudden one day they're like, hey, how do I get that ninja red? So that's what I wanted to tell you guys, because that's like the best part. That's when you're like, oh my gosh, like this is worth it. So just keep going when it comes to just sharing, just keep sharing.
Susanna, thank you so much. It's fabulous and very real. And we love, I think someone just said, we love your passion and authenticity. And so we're all normal people here. No one has to have this whole presentation thing down. We're not a stuffy group. So thank you so much. So one thing, I don't know if you guys saw in the chat, you don't want every single post to be Young Living. Same thing with your stories. Same thing with your content on Insta or Facebook. So 1 out of 5 or so, 1 out of 6 or so. And that's a kind of a little algorithm, a little flow that Lindsay Moreno taught at convention several years ago. So you're going to post about, you know, family, about cooking, about whatever, your car, whatever those things are that fit into those 10 brand words as you identify who you are and what you want to be known for. And then every 5 or 6 posts you go in with something Young Living related, okay? And it doesn't need to be, I hope we don't need to say this, but it doesn't need to be buy this or message me for this. Just share how you're using things. It doesn't need to be a sales pitch. You don't want it to be. You're going to turn people off really, really, really quick that way. So Angela is saying just plant seeds. So we just have a couple of minutes for Q&A. I know we're right at the 9:15 mark, but we really do want to be able to open this up. So if you have a question, I think we'll take the first few and you want to post it in the chat. That would be really helpful. If it's a concise question and you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to do that too. Who has a question that they'd like to pose to the summit, to the panel? And what did you think of these amazing rock stars sharing their knowledge, right? This is a topic we could go on for days about, but this is a brief overview. Oh, I'm so glad. Good, I'm glad it was helpful. What did we not cover, or do you have a specific question that you need some information about? So while those are coming in, just a couple of last thoughts. Gary Vee wrote a book, I think it's like Jab, Jab, Right Hook, I believe it's called, if I'm remembering correctly. But so he talks about going in and kind of like gently jabbing on your social media, gently jabbing, gently jabbing. So you're just imprinting with some information, you're imprinting with some information. Every once in a while, you're going to come in with a right hook, and his right hook is like a call to action. So maybe for weeks, you've been sharing how you use your diffuser. You've been talking about your Ninja Red. You've been talking about your CBD. You've been showing how you wash your fruits and veggies with thieves, right? And then you come in with a right hook, which is asking people to do something for you, which is to come to an event, right? So you want to make sure that even though 1 out of every 5 or so is a Young Living post, Then every like fifth or so, so every like 20 posts or so, you want to come in with a call to action where you're inviting somebody to, and you want to be doing some personal inviting too. You can't just rely on blasting an event on social media and have it and envisioning that working out, because that just never is going to work out 100% well. You might get like one person. So personal invites are huge, but every once in a while, maybe every 20 posts or so, you're going to put up, hey, I'm attending this great event tonight. Does anybody want to come with me? Right? So like tomorrow, for instance, we have a noontime wellness event and an 8 p.m. wellness event. If you're not actively inviting to those, your business is kind of flat in the water. How do you find people to invite to? By connecting with them on social media, getting to know them, engaging with them, building a relationship with them. All right, so we do have a couple questions. Christina, Madison Binding is a Royal Crown Diamond. So Antonio was saying, can you explain how to handle someone that asks why you are posting products for an MLM company? I've been asked by a couple of people. It was quite uncomfortable. Antonio, you know, we have, at least in my business group, we have that video on the 4 beliefs. And so one of the important 4 beliefs is belief in the network marketing profession. And so I know anytime anyone challenges me about MLM, I will come back and give them my true from the heart response as to how I feel about posting about an MLM. So I think that's something that you over time are going to get comfortable with your real feelings about this as a viable business model, and then be able to simply answer that question. You know, it only becomes uncomfortable if you are feeling kind of uncomfortable about the business model as a very viable and, you know, legitimate means for product distribution. So that is just something to think about. You know, I think, Antonio, as time goes on, I don't know if any of the other leaders want to chime in, as time goes on, you'll get more comfortable responding. I'm posting about these products because I love them. I love them. This has also become a side business for my wife and myself, you know, or however you want to respond. But I think you just spin it, you put a positive spin on it, but it needs to come from the heart. It needs to come from, you know, what you're really feeling. Angela, on Tuesdays, we have our noon wellness event and our 8 p.m. wellness event. And those are posted in all the groups. So that is something you can invite prospects to. You can invite people that want to learn more. Those have been going on, open up to the whole team for the last several weeks. Anybody want to answer Cherish's question about the filters?
I will. Cherish, very true. You just kind of have to like work your way through some filters and find one that will work for both, or just get really comfortable with your filter making everything look the same. Like my current filter makes everything look brown, I feel like. But I think too, if you take pictures in good lighting, I think sometimes the lighting of the picture has something to do with how the filter makes it look. So if you're waiting until 8 o'clock at night in your kitchen to take a photo of a product and then trying to apply the filter, it's going to be different than if you take it at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon outside on your deck. That's just my 2 cents.
And for those of you that are watching the replay, the question was, when it comes to filters, I try to stay consistent with lighting and brightness, but I find that one setting filter may work for a product, but it makes a selfie look terrible. So yeah, kind of playing around with it. Sometimes, guys, without even getting fancy with the filters, if this is making some of your head spin, just take your brightness, go to edit your photo, and just slide the brightness over. It's amazing what the brightness can do. I made a green smoothie the other day that didn't look like that green. Pulled the brightness way up, the thing looked fluorescent green. And Matt even came in and was like, wow, that smoothie picture you took was like amazing. Just good lighting and pulling the filter over, you know, pulling the exposure over a little bit. Right in the iPhone. It wasn't even through a special app.
I mean, one thing too, I want to say, this is like a really minute detail, you guys. So if you're still just working on content, don't get bogged down in this. But filters don't matter for Facebook. You don't need to have the same filter on every photo, because it's just the way that your feed looks is different. So really what you could do, like Jamie said, is just increase the exposure Instagram is where a filter can make your feed look a little bit better if people are actually going to look at all the squares at one time. What are the odds that people are going to look at the squares at one time? It depends who the person is. I like to look at people's whole feed. I like to look at it that way. I like to look at my feed and see it all look the same. An easy workaround right now, if you are a beginner Instagrammer, is just pick one of the Instagram filters and put that filter on your pictures all the time. Like I used to love Clarendon back in the day. Okay. Just pick one and just go with it. Ryan, my Insta handle is now my name. And that's a tip I'll give you guys real quick. Make your Instagram handle your name if you can, because if you start to get fancy and like have weird handles, then people can't stalk you properly. Like, let's be real. How many people have you met and you go stalk them on Facebook or Instagram, and then on Instagram you can't find them because they don't even have their name as their name. So I was a totally different name for a long time, and then I was like, this is my business. I gotta do the right thing. And I made it Laura DiDomenzio. Super simple.
I totally agree with you, Laura. And even like with us showing our community, like taking a picture of like this square and being like, look at what our team is doing, and like tagging your friends on here and showing that. Like when I go to quickly tag people, if I can't find their name, I'm not tagging. It's like a quick thing. So I really, really think at least your first name to be the beginning of it. I totally agree with you.
That's such a good point. That really is a good point. And the other thing that comes up a lot, actually, let's talk about this for a second, is do you do a personal versus a business account? So it is a complete waste of time. I will tell you this over and over, unless you have a following of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, just take your personal accounts and incorporate your Young Living use into it, just like you're incorporating everything else. So, you go to a great restaurant, you post a picture outside of the restaurant, that goes into your feed, right? You're using something on your neck that's really helping you, or, your bedtime routine is some nice tea and your CBD roller and your Valor. It just all gets woven into your personal page. There's no need to create a separate group. There's no need to create a separate Instagram for it. There's no need to create a separate Facebook for it. And what I find, and I know this from experience, I watch people spin their wheels and get stuck in the mud because they're putting all of this time and energy and effort into like a business Facebook that has maybe 166 followers, and when you do the math, maybe 4 people see it, right? Don't discredit the people that are watching you that never say a word, because there's going to be, if you have 500 Facebook friends, there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of people that are just watching and scrolling. Same thing on Instagram. They see your stuff. They just might not be liking or commenting. And when you start to compartmentalize it into a smaller group and you're only posting your Young Living stuff on one little group, you're missing an entire population of people that are watching. And how do I know this? Because I've been doing this now like 7 years or so, and I still get people, and I mean this, it's crazy. I get blown away every time it happens. I still to this day get people, maybe like one a month, that will write to me and say, I've been following you for a while, and they have never liked, they've never commented, they've never messaged me before, but all of a sudden they reach this aha moment where, you know what, the rubber's met the road and they really need Thieves, or they really need Ninja, or they've watched my skincare routine for the 13th time and they're like, okay, I'm finally ready to get it. So if you are only posting that in a tiny wellness group, or you're only posting that on an Instagram that's just for Young Living, you are missing thousands and thousands and thousands of algorithmic exposure. And I just made that word up. But you are missing exposure. You don't know how many people are just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, okay? So if you have thousands and thousands of followers, it's a totally different story. And, your approach is going to be a little bit different. But most people, I'd say like 9 out of 10 people, they do not need a separate group. You're actually doing yourself a disservice. You don't need a separate Insta. You don't need a separate Facebook. You're doing yourself a disservice. Some people learn the hard way. Can you merge and standing business account? No, you can't. You can't once if it's separate. But you could just stop posting over there. You also could put up a little notification to say, hey, please follow me over here. Most of my content's going to be over here from now on. And people who are following you will follow you over, Lauren. Ooh, Pamela has a question. Optimum ratio of following to followers. Oh, yeah, one of you Instagram ladies might want to touch on that one.
I don't think there is one. Like, I don't think it really matters.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't think it does.
No. I mean, like Madison, I feel like Madison Vining has a lot less followers than people who follow her. I think she's under 1,000, but I feel like Annie Hauser follows like over 1,000 people.
And sometimes if you follow somebody, that's when they're going to check your page out and they'll follow you back. So I don't know.
Guys, it's also so important to remember. So Annie Hauser, Madison Vining, those are Royal Crown Diamonds. There's no Royal Crown Diamonds here in this group, right? When we hit Royal Crown Diamond, it's a totally different ball game because you have tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of members. So you're inherently going to get more followers. So please don't fall into like the category of looking. I mean, those people are wonderful to follow for inspiration, but don't think that your account needs to be what theirs is because they're in a completely different category, right? It would be like somebody that's just starting, baseball practice, comparing it to somebody who's been in 5 World Series, right? So as these Royal Crown Diamonds are building, they've built all these followers, crossline followers, downline followers. If you're just getting started, please don't allow the follower comparison trap to have you feel inadequate. You are worth it. Your brand is worth it. Your voice is worth it. What you have to say and share with the world is absolutely worth it. So don't get too caught up on those numbers.
Can I also share, like, from a duplication purpose, like I had somebody come to me who followed all of those big social media accounts, and that was one thing that she was like, I don't want to have a separate social media account. And for me, I said, well, you don't have to. And I think for us, it's really showing that Young Living is just so incorporated throughout our day. It's not a whole separate business. This business is just lumped in with us, like playing with our dog. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's a huge part of it. And people don't want to do all that work. So if you feel
that's huge. No, that's really huge because, guys, we're trying to help people share with others. Most people don't want to start a business. I'm going to tell you that right now. They really don't. They want to be a regular person sharing. So if you have a separate business page, it makes the imprint that they need to have a separate business page, right? So that's, just keep it real. You are basically a person that's using your products, falling in love with them and creating experiences, and then sharing your products. So the minute you decide, oh, I need to make this a special business, call myself a special educator, call myself an expert, call myself what's the word a lot of people I see using over in another company, a consultant or what do they call themselves? One of you ladies knows. Advocate. And a wellness advocate. The minute you give yourself this special name and have a whole separate page, boom, people are going to look at you and be like, oh, well, Diana can do that, but I'm not doing that. So we want people using their products, falling in love with them, and simply sharing with others. Anybody could post, 1 out of 5 or 6 posts is going to be something wellness. Anybody can do that. It's super easy.
And I saw that Angela said she doesn't want to share her family with the world, though. I think with that, like, I've seen people post their picture of their family and like put like little stickers over faces and stuff. But I think people actually seeing the oils incorporated into your life, that is what's going to come across as like, oh, I can use that with my kids, or I can use that. I think that's a very large part of it. So think about, or maybe find someone that has like, a sticker or whatever it is. But I think actually seeing that is a very big part.
And like we can be creative with that. Let's say we don't want to show our kids online. We can just show their hands. We can take pictures of them from the back. We can take overhead pictures of them, holding their lavender roller before bed. There's a lot of ways to still impress that feeling of, ooh, that's me. I can do that. And that's kind of some of the subliminal marketing that we can go into in a secondary training. But there are some like hypnotic and subliminal attraction marketing trainers that will tell you, if you're laying in a hammock, don't just show the bottom half of your body, because it's going to help people envision being where you are, right? You're on the beach, you just show your legs and a book, and it's not showing your face. I mean, you do want to show your face, but it kind of helps people, oh, I could be there, I could be doing that. So that's kind of some of that like attraction marketing.
And with showing your face, I think it's really important to show your face on Instagram story. That is where your face, that's where people create that relationship face to face almost, where I think with Jamie, like, I think that's so true. So if you don't feel comfortable showing your face, I think doing a little bit of practice and doing a story that it only lasts 24 hours, and then you'll get better and more comfortable.
Yeah, because to wrap it back up to how we started, you want to think about who are you marketing to? It's not just random. We're not just dropping bombs here and there, crossing our fingers. We're really being intentional about who are we talking to? What is my message? Who am I? And then what's the content I'm going to put out there into the world? Melissa, thank you for sharing that. Casey Zaruba has a good, and not showing her kids because being foster babies. Okay, awesome. Does anyone have one last question? I feel like we went a little bit over and we need to all call it an evening. I wanted to thank all of our amazing leaders, Lonnie and Laura and Diana and Susanna and Tina, for working together. Just make sure that if you're using the chat feature, you can control who you're writing to, if you're writing to just me or if you want the whole group to see it. So I have a lot of people writing to me privately. I don't know if it looks like that's more of a public message, but you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, and let's cross our fingers that the recording works, and then we'll get this up on a YouTube link, and we will have this as an evergreen tool that we can share. All right, well, thank you so much, and we are excited to see some fantastic social media coming out. Let's make sure we're supporting one another, and we are liking each other's posts, we're commenting on each other's posts, and we're really empowering each other in that way. It's a beautiful way to support one another on this journey. So be well, everyone, be safe, be healthy, and we'll see you soon. Bye.